dive in real quick. So my beautiful co-host here, Alexis Carrera, both are going to be in Michigan, and Ryan Boswick, he is also a real estate agent, all three of us. So, Peter, this is my little love I have for you right here. So you come to us with 21 years of experience and mastery of mastermind and success psychology, owner of My Highest Potential, and you help your clients with small business owners remove their fear, dread, and doubt when building their empire.
Yes, ma'am. Well, not 21 years. So I've been learning and doing this for 11 years.
11 years.
21 sounds better, though.
Right. Yeah. I was like, wow, 21 sounds great. We'll stick with that.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Soon to be 21 years.
Might as well.
Soon. Faster than I'd like, you know?
Right.
So what got you involved in this? What was your groundbreaking moment when you were like, this is exactly what I need to be doing? What caused that?
Yeah, so like looking back on it, it's kind of like that Steve Jobs quote. I can actually see how all of the dots have kind of connected. So starting at home, my dad actually became a neurolinguistic programmer and an executive coach back in the day. And so I don't know if you can imagine, but when I was 15, 16, I loved to watch The Simpsons. So I'm there watching The Simpsons, and my dad is getting back from his first NLP training, and he has this NLP book open, and he's chanting, "The map is not the territory. The map is not the territory." This is a classic NLP presupposition as he's like walking back and forth in front of the TV, and I'm trying to watch The Simpsons, right? So all the way from back then, I've been having this technology of mind kind of ingrained into my own conscious. Fast forward, right? Years later, I'm in Miami with my buddy Greg. And Greg and I go to this after party. And so we're on this balcony at this after party, and there's a hypnotist on the balcony of this after party, and he starts talking about hypnosis. And I had I had seen hypnosis, but I didn't know anything about it. And to be honest with you, I kind of thought it was like a stage show. I thought it was a magic trick. Mm-hmm. And like I think most people do. They see, people go up there, they close their eyes, and all of a sudden they're talking to a shoe, and they think it's a telephone, right? Mm-hmm. But there was something about this guy that, for whatever reason, I think because I had spent time with him before, there was something about him that when he told me these things about hypnosis, I found him very credible. So I started to dive into it, and I'm a child of the internet. So when I focus on something, I go in and I download everything I can find on it, and I just digest everything, right?
Yeah. We become obsessed when we're intrigued by something. And then the internet
that's called a rabbit hole.
Yes, 100%. That's the rabbit hole. Yeah. Yes. And the unconscious, if you think about the rabbit hole that is your psychology, that just goes all the way. So fast forward, and then I moved to Los Angeles in 2010, and I do an internet marketing internship. And so with this internship, they have cats, and I had been deathly allergic. I mean, truly deathly allergic to cats, right? The most severe cat allergy you could possibly imagine. Just snot, tears, skin itching, the worst. But I needed this internship. I was really curious about internet marketing. So I went into that internship, and the boss's cat was sharing my office with me.
A lot of fun.
Okay, so you walk in, bro, you have no idea. I walked up those stairs, walked into that room, and I see this red chair, and it's coated in cat dander. Yeah, exactly. So I'm already, so like the dander hits me, I start sneezing. Within about 2 or 3 hours, I've rubbed my nose completely raw. I look like Rudolph. It's not a good thing. So all of a sudden,
from that.
right, totally. So all of a sudden, I remembered back to one of my hypnosis books about this thing that you can do to cure certain allergies. Not all allergies, some allergies. And sure enough, so I closed my eyes, I went through the process, and about 15 seconds later, my cat allergy is gone. So I'm sitting in the same room, the same chair, my nose has stopped watering, my eyes have stopped running, and now I'm going, what the hell did I just do? Right? And so that was talk about obsession. That took me completely off the deep end. And I thought, if I could change a lifelong allergy, what else is possible with NLP, with self-hypnosis, with this type of stuff? And so I've been curious about it ever since. I got certified. I seem to do a training every couple weeks lately. I don't know what it is, but I'm always in new certifications. It's kind of like my hobby. But then I brought it to real estate agents and small business owners. So, I'm sure nobody on this call, but I'm sure agents who don't always make the calls they're supposed to make. They might not follow up. They might not, So what we find out is that it's 100%. Well, so I did some research. You guys might find this interesting. I interviewed real estate agents for about 3 months when I was starting to communicate inside this niche. And I found that there are 2 classes of agents. The one class has the problem of, I don't do enough business, I don't have enough leads, etc. The other class of agent, their problem is, I have too many leads and I have too much business, so I have to grow a team. And the one thing that divided the 2 classes of agents was how consistent they were in their lead generation. And if you're not being consistent, that's 110% your mindset, your unconscious programming. So that was a very long answer to, I think, a very simple question, but yeah.
Oh my gosh, that was incredible. Like, you literally tapped into your subconscious mind unknowingly, or not even sure that it was going to work. And look at what you discovered. That's insane.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's wild.
That is wild.
So for those who don't know, what does the NLP stand for?
Thank you, Ryan. I was just about to ask that.
Yeah. So NLP stands for Neuro-Linguistic Programming. And it started.
That's my first guess, but.
Well, bro, this guy's got it, man. So neuro meaning the mind and the nervous system, you're fine. Linguistics meaning language. And we all know that our inner language influences our reality. So that the words that we speak to ourselves, the beliefs that we had, that's the linguistic piece. And then programming, it was the 80s. So when this technology came around, they were studying therapists in the 80s. And at the time, the metaphor of computer programming dominated psychology. So CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, all of these models are based on computer programming models. So they use the word programming. But I don't like the word programming. I like to think of it as automation. That if you're going to install a new belief, if you're going to install a new habit, you want it to automate so that when you're in the situation, it shows up for you automatically. So neuro-linguistic programming versus neuro-linguistic automation, which may be my new take in the future.
So how does that affect the average person?
Yeah, so amazing question, right? If you think about the average person has a brain, yeah? So anybody with a brain is already doing NLP, whether or not they know they're doing NLP. So a common example is self-talk. So I don't know about you, but I've in the past had a pretty nasty habit of having negative self-talk. Yeah?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
We're our own worst critics all the time.
100%.
Especially in our field, because you can never do enough. You can never stop working. There's always something more you can do. So that's what got me really in my career.
Right. I agree with that with Ryan. That's the problem with us as entrepreneurs, though, right? We're never pleased. We're never, like, another one that I see really heavily is like interior decorators and designers or artists. They're never pleased. They always want to redo it. They always want something new. So
which you need, by the way, to be successful, because you got to keep improving and keep looking for the next, So
as a motivation strategy, 100%. As a motivation strategy, it's a very powerful way to become successful, is to never be satisfied. The problem with that is that you're never satisfied. So this is an old Tony Robbins, right? So this is, by the way, the biggest problem for high performers. High performers can crush it, but they're historically miserable because they have so much intense motivation in order to get to a certain level. But as soon as they reach that level, they're no longer satisfied, right? So anyway, back to your question. How can NLP help the average person? To me, everything has to be goal-directed. So people will talk about learning mindset. They'll talk about learning different things. But everybody in life has a vision, or if they don't, they should stop and create a vision for what your most fulfilling life is. And so if you think about what is my most fulfilling life in my business, do I want to be a mega successful agent and have fulfillment and have free time and enjoy my life? Or do I want to be mega successful? So really flushing out your vision is the first piece. The second piece is finding out, are my beliefs aligned with that vision? And this is super, super sneaky. If you spent a month and all you did was meditate on this fact, you would be well served. Your beliefs do three things for you, okay? Number one, your beliefs create perceptual filters. All right, so what's a perceptual filter? Perceptual filter literally means that your eyes are not actually seeing what's in front of you. It means that your brain is telling your eyes what to see in the world more than your eyes actually see what's in the world. And we know this from neuroscience too, by the way. You can hook up measurement devices and measure the amount of electrochemical energy going from the brain to the eye, and then from the eye to the brain. It's 90% brain to the eye, 10% eye to the brain. I'll give you an example. They did this famous experiment called the luck experiment, where they took people who believe they're lucky and people who believe they're unlucky. And they take them, and they're all salespeople, by the way, and they send them into a cafe. And they put $100 cash on the ground of the cafe, okay? The lucky group, over 80% of the lucky group sees the cash, picks it up, puts it in their pocket, right? Mm-hmm. Less than 12%. Listen to this. This is the most important thing you will ever hear about your nervous system. The unlucky group does not even see the cash. Less than 12% of them see the cash. If I have a belief, if it's about myself, if it's about my business, if it's about my spouse, if it's about men, women, whatever, that literally creates a filter, rose-colored glasses, we've called it for a long time, that distort what comes in through my eyes. It trains my nervous system to look for certain things or not. So that's a perceptual filter. That's one thing your beliefs do. That's just one, right? The other is beliefs turn on and off skills and abilities. So in the scientific literature, this is referred to as self-efficacy, right? So if you look at the research, this is the old cliche, right? Am I droning on? Is this useful, or is this?
Yeah, absolutely.
No, incredible.
Okay.
I'm zoning
definitely
right now. This is exactly what's been happening in my life for the past 2 weeks. I'm like, well, I'll let you finish and then we'll get there.
Yeah, that's so true, because we all have a breaking point, all of us, where we switch.
Yeah. Okay, so turn on and off skills and abilities, right? We know that real estate agents, they just did actually really interesting research. I think it was Bandura et al. If you guys are super nerdy like I am, you can go to scholar.google.com. If not, that's fine. TikTok is also good. It's going to be a new TikTok challenge. We're going to bring scientific literature to TikTok. I don't know how, but we'll do it. I have to do a dance.
I might actually be on TikTok a lot more if that happens.
Seriously, a little education on TikTok. Yeah.
Just do it, man. Just do it.
So they did this research with insurance salespeople, and they measured their levels of self-efficacy. Efficacy means belief in my skills and ability. Mm-hmm. And we know this intuitively. Everybody knows this, right? It's cliche at this point. If you believe you can, blah, 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 blah. Mm-hmm. Well, in the study, they found people with high levels of self-efficacy sold more, they made more phone calls, they stuck in more difficult challenges, they were more resilient to challenge. And so that's the second thing beliefs do. They turn on and off skills and ability. If you have a belief inside your business that is not in alignment with your vision, you will physically cut off the resources inside your nervous system that will let you go do it. And we have this in all areas, right? People have beliefs about their skills as a marketer, I'm creative. I'm not creative. I'm persuasive. I'm not persuasive, right? We have these ideas that and then we take them with us into our business, and it can be deadly to your career. So the third thing is they create self-fulfilling prophecies. And this is another amazing thing to look up. If you go to Psychology Today, there's a graph that really just draws it out really well, where you have your beliefs here, which determine your actions, which determine your results, which then feed back into your belief systems. And so what we see, fortunately and unfortunately, is that beliefs that are useful tend to become more empowering over time, and beliefs that are not useful tend to become less empowering over time. So how does this impact the average person? Well, they have beliefs about their health, they have beliefs about their relationships, they have beliefs about love, they have beliefs about how good they can feel, how much fun they can have. So to me, your belief system is the quality of your life, period. That's why I do what I do.
Amen.
Albert Einstein. I literally just posted a quote today, Albert Einstein. And
Did you really?
Talks exactly about that. About how what you manifest and who you. If there's a life that you want, you need to put yourself into that life. That's it. It's a manifestation thing. It's all about energy. I mean, the law of attraction is so real and it's so strong. And once you tap into that and you unlock that for yourself and truly believe that that's part of your success, the only thing that can ever happen is that success.
Success, yeah. 100% agree.
Do you know what I never understood about the law?
So to answer,
speaking of that, sorry, go ahead.
Well, you know, when they're training law of attraction, they say, you know, create your vision, have gratitude, step into that life. I've never understood why more people, when they're manifesting their life, don't think about manifesting outside of their life. And this is a tangent. We can jump back to something else. But if you really can manifest epic levels of success, which you absolutely can, if you absolutely can manifest whatever it is you want, your career, your relationships, etc., then what? Like, yeah, you can be a millionaire, 10 millionaire, billionaire, etc. Then what? And so to me, ultimately, right, if you're going to learn how to harness your nervous system to create a new self-fulfilling prophecy, to me, I think the vision should include service, purpose, mission.
Agreed.
Giving.
Oh, absolutely.
That, you know? Yeah.
So that was a good transition for because we were kind of talking about it. So what does success mean to you personally? Not the definition, but to you personally, you'll be proud of yourself. What does it mean when you've made it?
God, when I've made it, I'll never make it. It's for me, it's literally the number of people I can infect with this idea that you must become responsible for your own belief system. So success to me is literally taking what I have in my brain and then putting it into every single brain on the planet. When I can talk to a 7 or an 8-year-old kid and they know how to change beliefs, then I'll consider myself successful. Outside of that, there's, you know, time freedom, a certain level of income, the ability to travel, a loving, fulfilling relationship. Those things, of course, are important to me too.
That's great. I think balance is such an important thing. A lot of people just talk about, especially online, money. I was like, there's so much more to life than money. You know, there's relationships, quality of your health, quality of your life, you know, time, your own time, stress. Like, it's just crazy. Like, especially in our field with the realtors, it's like, I did not know how much stress and constant stress. And it's just different type of stress, you know, whether you're high or low, you're constantly stressed about something. And like,
always.
And I'm getting thicker skin. Let's just say that. I've had to make my adjustments, and everyone has to make adjustments to be successful. So I'm just like rolling with the punches, you know what I'm saying? And learning as I go. And it's a blast, to say the least. It's never boring.
Never.
It's never boring. Right. That's why we're all doing what we're doing. I think to be truly successful, you have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. You have to get into that uncomfortable behavior and get used to being. Without change, we don't succeed. There's no growth by doing the same thing every single day.
Right.
But manifesting those thoughts So to answer your question real quick, I started
Yeah.
listening to affirmations. I have a close friend of ours that we had on last week. She came to my house and she sent me some of her videos that she watches. And she was like, watch these and I promise you your life will change.
Wow.
And, you know, I had like a moment and I was like, that's not going to happen. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to try it. And
Yeah.
I 100%. Everything about my week and my business and my life and my mindset changed.
Which is normal. That's normal.
I've gotten more clients, more listings, but I started listening to the affirmations, 45 minutes of affirmations,
Yeah.
like 3 times a day, and just getting that in
Just
my mind.
swipe up here.
Oh.
I'm good enough.
No, I love that.
Oh my God, that's amazing. I didn't know that, Jeff. That's
Yeah.
huge.
It is wild. So it brings us to my next question. So why is having compassion for yourself
That's
important?
real.
Okay, so I remember I must have posted this at some point in time, and you're coming back to self-compassion. Is that what it is?
No, I just
No?
want to know compassion
Okay.
for myself.
Ah, okay.
For others.
Give me some, yeah. So if you think about there's self-confidence, there's self-esteem, and then there's self-compassion. Self-esteem is really how you feel about yourself. It's an evaluation and judgment about who you are as a person, which, by the way, is another belief. So, by the way, if you don't have the self-esteem you'd like to have, then that's the way you go at that. You don't try to develop healthy self-esteem directly. You change your beliefs about yourself so that you then esteem yourself highly, right? Confidence, on the other hand, is faith or certainty that you can do something, right? So I'm confident that I can tie my shoes. I'm confident that I can drink this beer, blah, blah, blah. Most of the time, people don't want confidence for that, right? They want confidence for other things, but it's your faith or certainty in a particular skill set, ability, or outcome. Compassion, the ability to walk with yourself, to love and accept yourself where you are as you are today, to me is more important than self-confidence or self-esteem. Because if you have compassion for who you are, then you're more likely to develop healthy self-esteem. You're more likely to develop self-confidence. Compassion is the ability to understand what you're going through from that place of deep, radical acceptance, right? So you got to understand, like, I did not get into this field just because of the cat allergy. I was also deeply neurotic, like incredibly insecure, neurotic. I dealt with panic syndromes and social anxieties that you could not imagine. That, you know, if I would go to, for example, like if I would go to the grocery store and I would have panic attacks buying my groceries, right? It doesn't make any sense at all. And for me, it didn't make any sense either, because growing up, I was very confident. So imagine you've grown up, you're confident your whole life, and then all of a sudden you get this disorder out of nowhere. And going through that journey, at the time, I didn't know how to do any of this stuff. I didn't know how to change my beliefs. I didn't know how to change my emotions. Compassion for myself, being able to accept the fact that, like, dude, I have no idea why I feel this way, but I do. And I love me because I showed up and I did the right thing anyway. And because, you know what, I'm a human being. And
So it's more like acceptance of yourself and your doubts.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah.
I think it's acceptance and then willing, it's noticing the problem, accepting the problem, and then willing to change. That's major.
That's a huge thing, though.
That's a huge thing. Being able to
100%.
Some people
tap into that.
But they're unwilling to change. You can see that you have a problem, and you can see, I'm not making those calls, or I'm not reaching out to who I want to, but nothing changes in your life to get to that next level. Like, get out of your mind, get out of that space. Like, make those small steps.
Yeah.
Like Alexis said,
some people
recognize,
know they
change.
Some people are in denial as well. You know what I'm saying? And I can relate too, by the way, with anxiety. It comes out of nowhere, and it's random. It could be this one day and then the other day, and it's just like, whoa, it's just so weird. Do you still struggle with that sometimes, or does it creep in? You just have to, and you just know how to shut it down.
Almost never. So almost never. I would say 99% of the time it's a non-issue. And then actually, the last time that I had anxiety, it was actually appropriate for the context. That was a very difficult family situation that we were all going through. And so, by the way, there's healthy stress. You know, you're not supposed to not have stress.
Yeah, if you don't have stress, then there's
doing something.
You're
Right.
Right? So the definition of a sociopath is that they have a much lowered fear response. So if you don't have stress, you know, then either like, so the other thing is too, is now I have tools. So I have a clear set of tools that if I don't feel my best, I know how to step into a different emotional state pretty quickly. So yeah.
Do you mind sharing those tools with us?
I was just going to say, is it a mental, is it a visual? I can tell you what it is for me, and Ryan can tell you what it is for me. I talk about this very freely and openly most of the time. The fact that I'm saying this public is huge. I was in a similar situation with you. You know, like I grew up with, I watched my father who grew this incredible global corporation, and business was just it just was drilled into my brain. So I was like a sponge. You know, when you're at that certain age and you're just a sponge and you're watching things happen and break down, you just soak that up like it's, you know, it's lithium. It's heaven to us, you know? Yeah. So what I discovered at a very young age was my light switch. And that's what I call it. I call it my light switch. So I turn on when I'm ready to work, I turn it on. And when I come home, I turn it off. And it's almost like, I wouldn't say it's two different personalities, but I am two completely different people, because in order to be the person that I need to be to get to where I want to be, I have to be the best and strongest version of myself and be that businesswoman. I have to turn that on. Yeah. So when I turn it off and I'm home and I'm unwinding and I'm broken down and I'm with my husband and we're, you know, with our family, it's completely different. But if I didn't have that ability, if I got that misconstrued where I wasn't sure, you know, I wouldn't be able to be successful by being the person that I am at home in my pajamas and sitting on the couch with a bowl of popcorn. That's just not, you know, so I discovered that at a very, very young age, and I can relate to you relate to you in that aspect. It's a gift, and it's really hard to teach. Some people will never be able to understand it, but with you and the hypnosis, that's where you tap in to their subconscious mind. Switch.
So I go in and install the light switch, right? So you asked about techniques. So first of all, I want to know, how are they creating their negative state? Okay, so you can only have an emotion by making meaning, or another word for meaning is belief, about the current activity, right? So we make meaning about an event, and that changes how we think about the event. And then what you think produces how you feel. Now, how do you think? This is not a trick question. This is so blaringly obvious. There's a great, this is Moshe Feldenkrais, this amazing body worker back in the day. He used to call it the elusive obvious. It's the kind of thing that when you hear this, you're just like, duh, of course, right? But most people never really interact with their thinking with that level of specificity. So if you think about how people have thoughts, we either talk to ourselves or we have mental imagery. We think in pictures, movies, etc. And those things produce feelings. It's how we make those pictures. It's how we talk to ourselves that either gives us a strong belief or a negative belief, or produces that turns the light switch on or turns the light switch off. She has a strategy for that. And I guarantee you, if we found it out, since it's a light, there's a visual metaphor there, I would hazard a guess that she sees something like the light, and probably the light floods her. If I'm guessing, I don't know. We could find out.
The Lexus, tell us.
That is what it is. It just takes over. It just fully, I just walk right into it.
Yeah. So where's the light before you walk into it? Is it in front of you? Where is it?
It's in front.
Yeah. So she creates, and by the way, this is called, in my work, this is called a synesthesia. So if somebody wanted to work with feeling more grateful, feeling more grounded, feeling calmer, what you could do is you could give that emotion a color, and quite literally, we would have them imagine that color in front of them and have them step into it. It's almost like you took that, Alexis, out of one of the seminars that I've been to, because they teach a technique very similar just to that, right? So it's how do we think using our internal dialogue. If people are anxious, 9 out of 10 times, I would bet money on this, they're speaking to themselves very rapidly. Almost 100% of the time, their internal dialogue is going a million miles an hour. and it's probably speaking in a really stressed voice. So if it's negative internal dialogue, one of the things that you can begin to do when you start to feel that anxiety is just notice that the voice.
Oh, there he is.
Oh, that's I don't know what's going on.
Hi.
Yeah, it's all good.
So we were talking about negative internal dialogue. Yeah. So if you have rapid negative self-talk and it's causing you to, so I'll share since we're being vulnerable here today.
I am more than willing to share as well. If you want to dive into me,
same.
I'm more than happy to open that up at any point.
So my negative internal dialogue has always said the exact same things to me in the past. It was never creative. It was always exactly the same. Okay. And it would go, oh shit. Or do we cuss here?
Yeah, it's fine. You're
Yes.
good.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Cocktails and closings, baby.
Yeah.
We're also supposed to have drinks, and we're like intensely listening about. Like,
I mean, yeah, I am.
Yeah.
I'm drinking. I got my drink.
Hell yeah. So my negative internal dialogue would go, oh shit, you're gonna F it up, right? And it would say it, when you would listen to the negative internal dialogue, it would be right behind me, and it would scream it at me, right? So if you actually stop, the first thing, if you want to change the way you're thinking, you have to become aware of how you're thinking. And as it turns out, it's not so much what you think, it's how you think it. So if you take the same thought and it's going, oh, I don't even know how to scream that well out loud. I've never in my life screamed that terrified. I literally can't do it extra verbally. But if you take the negative tonality and you start to slow it down and then change the tone so that you can criticize yourself in a sexy tone of voice, right? So so this is a fun exercise. Think of who has the sexiest voice. For me, it's Salma Hayek. I don't know why, but there's something about
Oh my God, that's so funny.
right? There's something about that accent that gets me, right? So you don't have to tell me who it is, but who has the sexiest tone of voice to you?
Someone who speaks a different language.
yeah, definitely.
That's all I know. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just criticize yourself with the same content, but do it in a sexy tonality, and I guarantee you will feel differently. Guaranteed.
Yeah,
It makes me
definitely.
happy. I'm like, yeah, tell me about it. Tell me how bad I am.
Right. Yes, exactly.
Right.
Like mine is oh shit, Peter. You're gonna
Yeah.
and I'm like, oh damn, I'm gonna fuck. Woo! Like,
Okay.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, yep, this is great.
Yeah, like, oh, do it again, you know?
Right.
So learning to change your relationship to your internal thinking. That's just self-talk. People's mental imagery, when they're making negative pictures, salespeople do this all the time. They have an expectation about how things are going to go. And so, if you have a difficult client, be careful, because not only are they difficult and a pain in the ass, but you're also projecting that onto them.
Yes. So show up, put a smile on your face, and scrub your energy down because that all
Re-scrub
matters.
Yes.
100%.
Yep.
I got a quick question. Change it
Tell
up
me.
a little bit here.
Yeah.
So what does your morning routine look like?
I don't have one, so I do what I need in the morning. I'm a huge fan of Wim Hof breathing. I love Wim Hof. So more days out of not, I will do 10 to 20 minutes of meditation followed by gratitude. And then
I love that.
So I do something called future pacing. And there's this research out, and we've known about this in NLP for a very long time, that you code your future and your past in your mind. You have a way of knowing what's going to happen tomorrow, right? Obviously, this is another one of those duh things, but it's the way you code that allows you to behave in the world effectively. Well, what I like to do is I like to put my goals in that same coding, so that if there's something I want to accomplish, I want to have that in the same code as things that I know are going to happen. And then things will pop up.
Right.
If I don't believe I can accomplish that goal, I'll get an internal signal, and I'll go through and say, okay, is that because I need to adjust my mindset? Or is that because I need a new marketing technique, or I don't know, or there's not enough time in my schedule? So I do a lot of future pacing. So I'll check in with my goal. I'll program it into something I know will be there. For example, if you know you want to do 10 listing appointments this month, If you future pace that and then work backwards, then what you can do, for me, that's the most powerful, more habitual. Like DMX is good too. If you ever listen to DMX in the morning, DMX will get you lit. You know, that seriously.
Right.
I might have to do that tomorrow morning. X gonna give it to me. Like,
X don't get, yeah, there you go. That one gets me.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like throwing some Al Green or like throwing some like pumped up reggae, and I'm like through the roof. I'm like, yup, time to rock and roll. Yep. That's me. Everybody has
rock
this
and
thing.
roll. Here we go.
I know.
Yeah.
One of my things. I was like ready to time to rock and roll. So, what is your opinion on somebody like myself who like was born into this? No, this is a serious question because I've never been able to talk. I usually,
Careful,
just
Peter.
for the record,
Careful.
Just for the record, I'm usually a nonstop, have so many questions and fire at people. I have never been so glued to the screen in my life because I finally met somebody that understands what I'm doing. And I've never, other than my own father, have I ever met somebody that understands any of this. I actually almost went into psychology because I loved it so much. Just it's a deep passion. It's like a guilty pleasure. I just absolutely love getting in people's minds, and it's a very weird thing. I'm sure you can relate, but. So my question is, for somebody who was born into this light switch mentality and has access to certain things, what's the next step? Like, what do I need to do to unlock it even deeper? Because I know I have that ability. I just can't figure out how to take it there.
Yeah. So more specificity. You have a tool there with the light switch. Now you want to learn what are the other tools, and there are more. So the tools that matter to me the most are tools for your emotional state. So the light switch is an emotional state. I turn on the light, bam, I step into it, have the new energy, right? So that's an emotional state thing. Then there's tools for your values. Values refer to what's most important to you in life. In my work, that's how I refer to them. Okay, so it's what you believe to be most important. Now, values drive all of our behavior. Your clients buy because something meets a value. They don't buy because it doesn't meet a value. So
based off emotion.
It is, yes, 100%. So your values are the emotions that you desire to experience most in the world. And every single decision that you do is trying to meet a value. So figuring out where your values are in alignment with your vision, or where you're running from an old map of or an old value system. So sometimes, for example, we learn something at some point growing up, and we learn to move away from something we don't want to feel rather than move towards what we do want. And the problem with this, and you know this from your law of attraction, is that whatever we resist persists. We end up recreating. So we want to take your value system. We want to find out, is there?
And I feel just for people that are watching, I feel like you know, when you resist and it ends up persisting, that's because of the amount of energy that you're putting into it to avoid it. It's working in the opposite favor. So you have to be really careful with how much energy and how much time mentally you put into something. Like, I'm not going to do this today. I'm not going to do this today. I'm not going to see this person. And because you're putting that energy out there, whatever it is, you know, I'm not going to fail at this today. I'm going to do great. It's inevitable because you're already putting that energy out there. You just have to completely erase it from your mind, and you have to look at it like an etchy sketch. You just have to wipe it off. That's it. That's the best way to tackle something like that I've found. But everybody has their system, and I've found too that, like, I look at it as like a light switch. I literally look at it like an old school light switch, just on and off. I picture it in my mind, and it's white, and it's on a white wall every single time. And I turn it on literally in my mind. And then I walk into that light, like you said. And I also have this weird thing where I turn into, it's almost like an alter ego. It helps me get to that person mentally when I have a name for her, which I don't know if you've experienced this, but I've named her, and I named her Al. And when I turn Al on, I am like business ready to go. Ryan knows about this.
I've seen her a couple times.
Nice. So who's with us now? Is this Al or Alexis?
No, this is Alexis.
Gotcha.
Right.
This is
and then so a little more confusing also about beliefs and how they work. So having a more refined understanding of language, the more you can understand language, the better off you're going to be. Learn hypnosis. because hypnosis is essentially the art of guiding consciousness with language. And in your career, obviously, you're already very good with language and communication, but understanding the depth to which you can take your knowledge of language, oh my God, that will open up so much possibility for you internally and externally. Yeah.
So I don't know if I trust her knowing hypnosis, to be honest.
Yeah, I have a quick question.
Some people can, some people shouldn't. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
When you say hypnosis, though, like, I think like putting me to sleep, like, are you saying you put Alexis to sleep and see what her light switches and her why?
Nap time,
no, he's saying put myself in that situation where I'm understanding what I need, where I want to go. Like, put myself in that mental is the proper mental state. Hypnosis isn't technically like you're going to fall asleep, right, Peter? Like, it's not always.
I have a feeling that she knows more about this than she's letting on, and
I love these things.
Yeah. So to answer your question, hypnosis is a ritual, and it's within that ritual that you create an altered state of consciousness in which people suspend what they believe to be possible long enough for you to create something new. It's a ritual. Trance happens every day. Every time you daydream, you're in an altered state. Joy is an altered state. Love is an altered state. Altered states of consciousness are the norm. So any sport you've ever played, in order for you to be good at it, you have to do things like be so in the zone that you slow time down. You know, if a batter is watching a ball come in, they have to be able to make calculations as that ball comes in a fraction of a second. You can't do that in the world.
What I think is the biggest one, at least, you know, for most people to relate to, is your first love. That, like, love, that passion, that energy, that mental state, that sense of euphoria that never leaves. Or people with certain foods, like if I eat certain foods, time slows down. And I'm not even afraid to admit that.
Good thing.
But it's a mental state, you know, and it's so crazy. And when you start realizing that little by little, as you're going on, you can start to control it.
100%.
I like the sports analogy.
And the other thing to keep in mind, too, is that your clients have a buying state. There's a state they're going to buy in. And if you know how to elicit states in people, before you even start your presentation, elicit the buying state first. And then, assuming you're ethical and you're doing the right thing for the client, then you attach the decision to the buying state. I was told by somebody that I worked with.
Hopefully it's Michigan.
Hopefully.
No, he means...
I know, it's supposed to be a joke, but...
Sorry, I'm so here.
It's okay. Welcome to the show, Alexis.
So I had a client recently, and you know there's this insane seller's market, right? So I had a client.
Yep.
The property, the client was trying to lowball the offer, right? Was trying to come in under the offer, and there's no way, right? That person, I think, got 30 offers in the first day, right? It was some insane thing. And so if you're with a client like that, your ability to understand the beliefs about why they're doing that, what value is my client trying to meet by lowballing right now and certainly missing out on this home, and then reframing that and attaching the right buying strategy, the right state of mind to the correct action to serve your buyer, to me, that's ethical, integral influence. And I think you become a much more powerful real estate consultant the moment you can do that with elegance. So
let me ask you this: when you tap in and you realize that that's happening, what is the one thing that you manifest into their mind, that you carried yourself and you put in them? What's that one thing that you think is going to make them make a wiser decision to get the house that they want? Because I'll tell you what I think it is. What I use is fear of loss.
Yeah,
that's the biggest thing, because people operate like, it's everything that we do when it comes to purchasing and moving and changing our lives in the next chapter. It's all based off of emotion. 9 times out of 10, right? Unless you have that turned on and you're just looking at it as an investment, but it's usually based off of emotion, which is absolutely insane. So I always implement fear of loss, and it seems to work. Not always.
It's brilliant. First of all, if people are worried about being manipulated in hypnosis, there's one state that makes us more suggestible than hypnosis, and that's fear. So when people are in fear, they will do absolutely anything. And as a selling tool, fear is a great tool. However, not everyone is actually motivated by fear of loss. They might be motivated by fear of something else. So this is where we have to understand what the clients, by the way, that's going to work 8 to 9 out of 10 times. It's a phenomenal strategy. I'm not knocking the strategy. It's amazing, right?
Of course.
And that being said, number one, buyers are becoming more and more sophisticated now. So a lot of times people catch on to you. They know it's not their first rodeo. Oh, really? I'm going to miss out. Like, people have been around the block a couple dozen times now. So instead of thinking about fear of loss of their values is going to be much more powerful. If you find out what are the most important emotions that they move towards in their life and the emotions that they move away from most powerfully, the things they dread the most, now you're in a much more powerful position. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I like that. I think we should just learn how to hypnotize them, and then it'll be good from there.
Yeah, so
meditate with me.
Yeah. They open their eyes in the house, you know.
Ryan's gonna show up with a coin on a string, with a clock, with a pocket watch.
All I gotta say is, hey, this is all standard.
Yeah.
So we do have a question from the audience. I want to go ahead and make sure we get this out. What is the measure of happiness and success?
To whom?
There's not many. It's not specific. I would assume, in a general context, if you had to measure happiness and success,
that's based off of an individual.
Yeah.
I tell you what I want for
Daniel,
people.
They go hand in hand for sure. For me, at least.
So Daniel, if you're still watching, if you want to rephrase your question, I'm happy to ask it again.
Danielle is not.
I tell you what.
Okay, well,
what I want for people is not necessarily what they want for themselves. And so it's a choice point with my clients, but it's something I invite people to consider, which to me is purpose. And I think that you will become the most fulfilled if you can find a mission that's in alignment with your values. And the beautiful thing about a purpose is that it never ends. So if you're on a purpose or a mission that's bigger than yourself, and you're continually growing into and contributing, number one, you're going to continue to grow because that purpose will always call out the best in you. Number two, you'll have to give back because at every stage of growth, once you get to another level, you can share it with more and more people. And then number three, it adds meaning to our lives. So I would also suggest don't aim for happiness. Happiness is an emotion. It's fleeting, in other words. You know, in LA, they removed the mask mandate. I was happy. They put the mask mandate back. I was unhappy, right? So to me, what gives me happiness, or more importantly than giving me happiness, is living a life of meaning, of mission, especially when you learn tools like these and you can turn on your light switch and step into whatever state it is. Happiness is cheap at that point. You can just be you happily go to the grocery store. You ecstatically make your calls, you know? At that point, it's cheap. You know, feel how you want to feel. Learn the tools to feel fantastic, feel exquisite, but then give your life a deep, rich meaning that not only do you experience the best of what life has to offer. So for me, never settle. Really, you know, expect the absolute best in your life, and then contribute on, to me, a big scale.
Absolutely.
So I have a question. What would you say to somebody who seems to have a hard time coming to a conclusion of turning on their internal light switch, where they just, for some reason, can't get to that point? Like, it's